Hello, 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 hello. How's everybody
Hello,
going?
everyone.
We are back. I'm back from holiday. I was away last week. I know Ant and Dale held down the fort expertly. There was even discussions about me not being allowed to return because they did such a good job. How you doing, Ant? You good?
I'm good. I am dealing with the heat. I got my big jug of water. Keep hydrated, everybody.
Yep, for sure. I am boiling. I'll be honest. I'm boiling. I'm not having a.
Yeah, I can't imagine because I'm all the way up in Scotland, and I hear things in the south of England are somewhat hotter,
Yeah, yeah. It's not pleasant.
slightly.
It's not pleasant, but I'll survive. I'm sure I'll survive. I'll make it through. Mm. Hopefully, hopefully, I won't be lost to the heat.
It's all right.
Hopefully,
Cody will replace you if you are.
Cody will replace me. Yeah.
Cody has no such weakness of
hmm
temperature.
I don't know. You say that, but my laptop is very hot and bothered right now, just as much as me. I think.
Well, Cody's superior to all
Fans.
forms of life and
This is true.
technology.
This is true. Superior to even this hefty old laptop. Yeah. No, that's fair.
They
You're
told
not
me
wrong there.
themselves.
You're not wrong. How was last week? How did everybody get on? Last week's game. I'm going to play it real
Really,
quick. In fact.
really good. Delivery driver was a hit. We've
Excellent.
seen a good few creative hacks, and it was an absolute joy. I love the you had like slightly different steering on this game this time around, rather than like simple rotation like I'm used to doing. You had kind of that steering variable
Mm-hmm.
that it's hard to describe,
I tried
but
to
like it would
recreate.
stay in the last direction you turned.
Yes, yes. There's the steer kind of wears off. I was trying to create fairly realistic steering physics. Now I've done a couple of games. I don't.
Hmm.
I think you hadn't joined when we did the last. I've done this a couple of times before. I've definitely done some driving games a couple of times before. It's a nice little bit of physics that I really like. But I did it some
Absolutely.
different ways previously, and then this time it dawned on me that I needed collision physics, and I couldn't do that with my old way of the previous way I had. So I had to sit down and make some changes. So in fact, actually, you know what? I'll bring up a little comparison real quick. Why not have a little comparison? So let's go to. Uh, or no, what was the park? There was a parking game. There was a parking game that was a while back. Crazy Car. Okay, so Crazy Car. Previously, there were two different sprites that made up our movement of our car. We had a little
Hmm.
arrow that would do all the sort of that acted as front wheels. You can imagine it as front wheels, and then the car which followed that, just pointing towards it, going to it. So actually, all the movement was done with this direction. But what I actually did in the end, what I changed up um, for this one is, if you have a look at that code, it's similar to this code, but slightly different. So we've still got things like the acceleration works the same, but the problem is getting things like collision to work, making sure you don't phase through a wall. So there's some.
Yeah.
So if you're not, if you've not collided, you can turn, and you've got the turn stuff here. And again, the turn stuff is similar to the stuff just showed a second ago. But it's this stuff here to stop it going through the wall that does the trick. So it was an interesting challenge to solve, and I'm glad the driving physics were appreciated.
And I will say, I think maybe using that topic, I think it might be best to start with. I sent you Brian's project on the list for today because Brian did this excellent work with a flying hack,
Oh my
which not
gosh,
only
yeah.
looks great, but also you'll see in the code like a slight variation there on, as you said, you can only turn if you're not colliding with the grass. I distinctly remember that was a small issue that had to be fixed here, where when flying over the grass, we were like, why on earth has the turning stopped working while we're flying over? Of course, we're touching the grass.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, there you go. Change that there. So, if not touching grass, or flying is true. then you can do your turning. Nice.
So
nice.
yes, in Brian's game, while you're flying, you can actually fly over all the grass and houses and obstacles, etc. And it makes for quite a really fun experience. And it is the Z key.
I was about to say. My first question was going to be, how do I activate it for testing it? My second question is, when you activate Flying Car, does it become the DeLorean from Back to the Future?
Unfortunately not, although that is something that I'm sure will be fixed in the future.
I'm not a car guy, but if I was ever to buy an expensive car, it would be a DeLorean from Back to the Future. Great.
If I was ever to buy an expensive car, it would be Tootie Tootie Bang Bang.
Oh, that's actually a good shout. I love the fact that neither of us are car guys. We're just like, we would buy silly cars from films. Excellent. Right, let's try out this. Let's try. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is way cooler. Oh, it's like a little jet boost. Oh my goodness. It reminds me of that's so cool, of like doing ridiculous jumps on like racing games and whatnot. That would like yeah.
Looking at it now, I can see that the turning has actually been changed in this one, as you're demonstrating with that like simple rotation.
Yeah, there's the controls there. It just makes it a little bit easier. It's like if you want to do that, that's fine. Like a great addition. I was a purist in terms of the mechanics that I thought we should add to it, but I can completely understand for sometimes a more enjoyable experience, giving us a little bit of turning like that. No, this is brilliant. I love this little boost. And if you land on the thing, it teleports you back out. So well done there.
One thing I'd be tempted to add, if this was mine, is I'd be tempted to add something along the lines of you can only pick up or drop off a parcel if you're not flying.
Oh yeah. How do you think you'd go about doing that?
I think that would just be because we've got this flying variable, which is true or false, depending on whether you are in the air or not. So you could just do a nice simple. I can't remember where the code is for the collision with the parcel and the house in the target costume. You could just add something there like if flying is equal to false.
Yeah, something like this. So wait until touching. In fact, it's a wait until, so we can do wait until touching car. I won't leave this in. Obviously, I'm not going to deface somebody's code. So it'd be something like that. Wait until touching car and flying equals false. Sorry, not true. And then you do the same thing over in the house because I think there's a wait until touching car there as well. Nice.
Yeah, I just think that's a really nice way to round it out and make it so that you're not constantly flying, which I would be tempted to do.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with what's been done. It's just a nice little example.
Oh, absolutely.
Of like
it's just a possible step.
Exactly. And it's brilliantly. And the thing I was about to say is the reason my mind goes to that sort of thing is because he's done a really good. Did you say it was Brian who's done this? He's done a really good job of setting it all up with like making sure he's got a variable in there, a boolean, a variable to decide, to let the game know whether it's flying or not, and it makes it really easy to keep on top of that piece of information as the developer of the game.
As we just demonstrated there, it makes it easy for any changes like we just discussed. It makes it so easy to implement them.
Exactly. Because you can get away there without doing that sort of thing. But so really, you could get away with it just about. But being able to know what state your game is in is super, super important. Awesome. Okay, shall we move on to another game?
Absolutely. I think we have Max as well next.
Awesome. Is this?
This is the one, and you will notice we have an underwater theme here this time.
Okay. So
with a little surprise with your movement. Something nice and fun.
Ah, the bubbles! I love the bubbles. They're great. They're so good. Now, can I drive in to? Can I drive in to the people? No.
I believe that stops it all. There was some discussion as to whether to like take away points from you and simply delete the clone and create another clone elsewhere. We did have one coder I actually forgot to grab this project, who created a system where if you ran into a pedestrian, a police car would spawn to chase you down,
That's
which
that
was
is
great
I like
fun.
that. I like that. That's I mean,
There was obviously some balancing with how fast the police car could go,
yeah,
because we didn't do any like pathfinding algorithm to make the car
sure.
navigate the roads.
But
That
it's,
was a really fun one as well.
no, that's well, there's got to be consequences for bad driving. There's no other way to put
Absolutely.
it. I'm bad driver as an example here. 29.
This one's made slightly more challenging by the fact that the car's slightly larger as well. So you got to be really tight on the steering.
What happens if I get the star? What does that do?
If I recall, I believe there was a speed boost.
Ah, yes, that was the guided hack, wasn't it?
Yes.
Let's make a speed boost. Nice. Yeah, and you pick up a boost, and then you can activate it when you want. Yeah, if you pick up the... Hang on, let's head back to the code and have a look. Nice. Yeah. So once again, another Boolean variable there. If we have the boost, and go back over to the car, and you press the space bar, you have the boost, increase the speed.
Was that the initial value in the guided code, the speed
No.
times 15, or was it times 5? Yeah, so I think you get a considerably faster boost in Max's game.
Excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. I mean,
Better make sure you're on a straight line before you attempt it.
Ultimately, that's what I want. Like, I'm somebody who, my balancing of games is pretty boring when I make these games. I much prefer how everyone else approaches their game balance. Let's see.
Yeah, I think that's kind of...
Oh my goodness! Pew!
That's kind of essential. Is you leave the room for everyone to find their own kind of comfortable balance. Everyone has a little play with it. Sees what they really like. Some will go completely overboard in the best way. Yeah. And others like to, really fine tune it like a professional game designer.
Well, you know what? Actually, going and over, like, I can't remember. There is a phrase I came across one time, and the phrase escapes me now. But taking the game and kind of just tuning it in a really, really silly way. Really cranking up those numbers. I think it's just like extreme tuning is the phrase, something like that. But you crank up those numbers, change up your game dramatically, make it completely insane. And that actually tells you a lot about your game. And then actually you can work backwards from there, and that can help in the fine-tuning by making the game a little bit weird in the first place.
It's funny, the moment we talk about things like this, I start thinking of the infamous Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
Where
I love Goat Simulator.
I almost want to say it seems like balance is almost just not a thing.
I like that. Kind of like that.
Like very similar to some of our codes, they just chose the highest value for certain numbers. The collision force on this 9999999.
That's funny. Like, that's like, I always find one of the funniest things in games. Like, it isn't like often there'll be you'll have a game, you play a single player game, and there's some funny lines, there's funny dialogue, like, and I love the Lego Star Wars stuff. They make like lots of jokes like that in like Lego games, right? But they also do like physical comedy and things like that. Physical comedy is some of the funniest parts. Oh, just press the button. Some of the funniest parts of games, because it's stuff you've done. You do something, and there is a funny consequence to your action. Like, there's a lot of humor and a lot of joy to be had in that sort of chaoticness. It's like it's like why Oblivion.
Oh, you go ahead.
Why like Oblivion and games like that, and the Elder Scrolls games have hilarious moments like that are all over YouTube and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think some of my most fond gaming memories have been those experiences of chaos in physics sandboxes. Like, I'm thinking Sea of Thieves when a ship is sinking and someone's riding that sinking ship. And then it flips over, and they get launched into the horizon. Goodbye, Jed.
I feel like this isn't like a, like a possible story. I feel like there's a backstory to this.
This happened. This happened, and then we tried to recreate it, and we couldn't.
Press F to pay respects for Jed. Brilliant. No, exactly. Like, tune your game in a weird way, because almost always that is going to be funny when you test it.
I prefer it, for sure.
In short. Okay, we got time for one more?
Yes, we have Arnav, and this is his work in progress. His RPG game. You'll see heavily inspired by Pokemon. I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe the first map you'll see is actually the map of Pallet Town from Fire Red Leaf Green. I think that's the only one I ever really played back in the day. And yeah, there's lots of really cool stuff going on here. We've got a few maps to explore.
Oh, look at that!
We've got some he's worked hard on like the collisions in the level to stop you from touching certain points. Like you can't walk through the house, etc. You can't walk into the trees or the water.
Nice. Done. Nice. Look at the little. Look at the way the character bobs as you walk left and right.
Yeah, nice little movement system because we're kind of restricted to the one sprite for now because that's an asset from online. So rather than creating an animation through the costumes, it was just easier to do a nice simple constant up down bobbing motion. And
this is how the obstacles work. So there is a hidden behind the level image. It's a... Oh no, in fact it's Ghost Effect. Ah, there you go. Okay, cool. Okay, so I don't know if you've come across this little trick before. You probably have. When you have a sprite that's hidden, it doesn't give touching. It's like a touching block. It won't return a true, right? You can't check if it's touching something else if it's hidden, but you can hide it another way, and that is setting Ghost Effect to 100.
I am a big fan of the Ghost Effect. It's been a lifesaver in multiple situations.
So you set it to 100, and then the collision can still be detected. That is very good, and I love this. Is brilliant. Like this is also. Sorry, go for it.
You go ahead. I'll go my point next.
It's also very similar to how you do this sort of thing in other game engines that you get, that you start using as time goes on. If you're making a game in Unity, you're gonna create your asset, and then you're gonna add your collider to that asset. So you've got that's that's the thing you're colliding with, not the asset, with the actual collider attached to it. So
it's like a separate entity that follows the main asset.
Exactly.
Which Arnav has done spectacularly here, and you'll also see, there's an exit sprite there towards the top.
Ah, yes.
And if you hop in and you jump into that exit spot, you will run to the next zone.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know if it's still implemented, but it was the case where if you got too close to that Goomba, it would run into you.
Oh, yeah, no.
And trigger battle screen. Which is just the start, and there's a whole lot of work to go into the battle screen, but that is a lot of work put down into kind of setting it all up, you know?
Brilliant. I love it.
I might have lost your audio.
Oh, sorry. That is brilliant. I love it. Can you hear me now? Can you still hear me?
I can.
OBS
you also see he created like this behind, I think the character's called Rolly in this game. Behind Rolly, he created this asset.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Nice.
Which is fantastic.
That is brilliant. I love it. This is, there's so much effort. Like, this is a very lovingly made game already.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's the kind of thing we hope to see from like the game jams in the future. It's just, chipping away at the work bit by bit.
I am massively looking forward to the game jams and things like that over the summer. It's going to be really, 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 really good fun. We're going to have a little chat about it in a little bit, aren't we? And nail down some themes and things like that. So
yes, I have had a good few coders like begging me to find out what the themes are, if I can give any hints. But we're all mum's the word for now.
Mm-hmm. Hints would be to look at as many of the simulations on back on the dashboard. Look at as many of the simulations, as many of these as possible, because these are all game mechanics. They're not just simulating random stuff. They are all game mechanics. They will teach you how to build parts of games. So have a look at these. We'll give you
absolutely
plenty here, plenty, and there'll be more added as well in the last couple of weeks before the game jam starts. Okie dokie. One last thing before we go. This week's game, Volcano Run. In fact, I was running your club yesterday. You were not around, so you've not had a chance to run this game yet. And
I haven't,
as far as I could tell, just from the single club that we did. We saw some really good hacks. There is an awesome lava hack. That's the guided hack, so have a little look at that. To improve the look of that lava, because it's a little bit static at the moment. There's some cool things we can do with it. But all in all, a pretty cool game. When you run into this wall here, pushes you back into the lava. And in fact, I did a little stream a couple of weeks ago on Twitch, and I whacked it up on YouTube as well, as this will also go up on YouTube in a minute, of me making this game. Spent about an hour making sort of the prototype of the game, bare bones of the game, and then whack that up on YouTube. So that is available to watch if people want to watch it, or the VOD on here. I'll go Twitch, not Twitter. My goodness, words. Anyway, after that, apologies for that little plug, that little bit of self-promotion. You got to do it. Like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube as well. Just remember that. There you go.
Smash that like button.
Exactly. Okie dokie. I reckon that's about all we got time for. That's what I meant to say. That's about all we got time for. Thank you very much for joining me, and
thank you for having me. Looking forward to diving into what's it called again? Lava Run?
Volcano Run.
Volcano Run, thank you. Looking forward to diving into this and seeing what everyone comes up with throughout the week.
And we'll meet back here next week, and then the week after that, first week of the summer holidays, streams are good. There's going to be streams galore. We're going to do some extra streams. I was talking about doing Ready Steady Code, where we do little code battles between the mentors, give you like random assets that you've got to make a game from. And then it dawned on me, because I don't know how much this has been mentioned, but we're thinking about bringing in some Minecraft Educational Edition stuff at some point soon. Any games that people make in there, any multiplayer games, a little bit of Spleef. We might get together some of the mentors and play a few rounds of Spleef. Or something similar, all those classic Minecraft games, maybe some Bed Wars, something like that. But all built through Educational Edition sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has been a long time since I really got into Minecraft. That was way back in 2011, 2012. So I'm looking forward to that. Bit of nostalgia.
For sure. I remember buying Minecraft when it had just come out of alpha. That's how old I am.
Oof. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny hearing a lot of the coders still playing it, and you think, wow, Minecraft is older than you.
Yeah. That is something that has dawned on me in the past. Anyway, we should dash. After leaving you with that exciting news that there will be plenty of streams and some more variety and some different ones coming up over the summer. So we'll see you guys then, and we'll see you next week as well. Take care, and goodbye.
See you all later.
Bye.